Richard Cypher grows up as a simple woods guide in the Westlands, a world without magic. After the murder of his father, he meets the love of his life, Kaylin Amnell, and defends her against a group of assassins. Richard and Kaylin are then catapulted across a world filled with magic and terror, sex and sorcery, and an evil dictator hell-bent on ruling the world. What exactly is a confessor? Who holds the Sword of Truth? Why do wizards have so many rules? How many even are there? Tune in to find out on Seeker and Confessor, a Sword of Truth podcast.
Hello and welcome to Seeker and Confessor, a Sword of Truth podcast series. My name is Lauren.
And I'm Frank.
And we are a married couple in our 30s who have not read the Sword of Truth series in a very, very long time. Yeah. It was something that we read together when we first started dating 15 years ago. So that was a really long time.
It's been a minute.
Yeah. So this was something that actually we connected over when we first started dating, and we have spent a lot of our years together like reminiscing back on it in this really
yeah, if it's in a weird place, I feel like, for us.
Yeah, it's like this very far distant memory where we'll like make jokes about it and kind of reference it or be like, oh, did this show or book remind you of the Sword of Truth? But like we literally haven't read it in a really long time.
No, not at all.
So the idea here is that we are now going to revisit it. Think about what our 17-year-old brains enjoyed about the Sword of Truth, and then see if our 30-something brains maintain the same enthusiasm.
I expect that mine probably will maintain a lot more enthusiasm than your brain, but we'll find out.
That's
the
prediction.
Yeah.
The prediction is that you're still going to like it,
and
I'm going to be a total bitch.
Well, I don't know if you'll be a bitch, but I think that you're gonna come at it with a lot more analytical brain, and my brain's just gonna be like, I love that stupid magic shit so much. I just want to see Richard with his big sword carving across the lands of I don't remember what they're called, but
what the hell is
the Westlands? Maybe?
Did you just make that up?
I might have, but we can crack into the map later.
Yes, so if you're here because you're a big fan of the Sword of Truth, this might be entertaining. It also might be terrible, because don't come here looking for experts. We don't remember anything. We don't know anything. We're not Sword of Truth stans. We're just coming back and seeing what happens.
This is a reminiscence for us, and I can't even swear that we'll even be fans the further we crack into this.
But I
will.
Maybe we'll be even bigger fans.
Maybe. We'll find out.
I don't know.
Yeah.
We're just going to kind of go through basic information about the series to both refresh us, perhaps refresh you, or introduce you if this is new. We want to talk about just like the series holistically, but then also Terry Goodkind, the author, as well, because he's a very interesting man. There is
secretive man.
Yeah, there's very
weird,
limited
strange,
information about Terry.
Mm-hmm.
And then something else that we did today was we put a timer on for 5 minutes and just like free association wrote out anything we could think of.
Bullets.
Bullet
points.
Like anything that sticks out in our minds from the plot of the series.
Mm-hmm.
Frank's definitely going to have more than me because he actually read all of them.
So I read all of them up into where they existed, but I think Terry cranked out a few more post me finishing the series. I read up to Phantom or Chainfire, like that last couple of books that I remember being the finale, and then apparently he squeaked out a couple more after that.
Okay, well, I didn't get that far.
No.
I tapped out. Where did I tap out?
You tapped out.
Which one was it?
What was it? The one with the statue.
It's behind you.
Oh, we got it here. That was
Faith of the
Fallen.
Yeah.
Yep. The Ayn Rand Manifesto.
Yeah, I tapped out there. And I also generally speaking, I am much worse at remembering plots than you are.
Facts, yeah.
Like, in general, I think. But then also because I do tend to read more than you. So my brain can't maintain that many details about every single thing I read.
You try.
I remembered some stuff. But anyway, when we do that, I feel like you need to... almost feel like I have to go first and see how much of what I said matches up
Probably
onto yours.
I imagine.
Because I'll be really surprised if I put anything down that you didn't put. But I know for a fact that a bunch of things you put will not be on my list.
Yes, I guarantee that.
Half of them I'll probably remember and I'll be like, oh my God. And then the other half... I won't have any idea what you're talking about.
Because like by the end of the 5 minutes, I felt pretty like tapped out. But now that I've been thinking about it, like things are just flowing back.
I was blanking really hard.
I got ideas now. Like I have a lot more to talk about than I've even written.
Well, I think it's interesting to be like, what after 15 years, like what was so intense or important to my brain that it's like it's still in there, it's still readily available for me to pull out with no prompting.
That is weird when you think about it. Like that's, like that's the power of books. But Terry, I don't know, he wrote 40,000 pages. He wrote a lot of pages. Those books.
Did you just make that number up?
Yeah, 100%. I don't know.
You didn't read that?
No, I didn't read that.
Yeah, so like a little bit more background. We went on our first date. One of the first things we talked about was Lord of the Rings, and we were both very excited to discuss it with one another. And I feel like I need to mention that this was 2007, and reading fantasy books and like knowing things about Lord of the Rings was not cool.
It wasn't. I guess we weren't cool.
Yeah. But I'm like, I don't know. It wasn't like... it wasn't totally unheard of. I mean, the movies are making billions of dollars, but like, I just feel like the way that it is now, like in high school being like, I've read Lord of the Rings was not like everyone was like, yeah, of course.
It didn't like make you an outcast or anything, but it definitely wasn't like, everything feels very fandomy and cool now. You have like the MCU and all that other stuff. It didn't exist back then. So like you were kind of not an oddball, but you were an outlier. Like that was an interest that not everybody had. Yeah,
like finding out that you had read it, I was shook.
Yeah.
Like I was like, what? Really?
Yeah, it was the best. I just loved.
All right, this is not a Lord of the Rings podcast.
Stay tuned.
It's not a Lord of the Rings podcast. It's a Sword of Truth podcast.
Obviously. You're right. You're right.
So we were excited that we both liked fantasy books at like to this level. And then I mean, literally our first date, you said, have you ever read The Sword of Truth? And I had never heard of it. I had never heard of it.
Yeah. And that's fair. I mean, back in the days of Borders, there were so many fantasy books when you went to that section, like so many series. And
yeah.
I feel like you were alive for 16 years. So reading for 10 of them, you can't have read that many of them. You know what I mean?
I guess so. Yeah. I did like fantasy, but I'm thinking I didn't read a lot of fantasy
everything.
Series.
That's the thing. That's
you
the
like
truth.
Kind of only read
I almost
fantasy.
Exclusively. Yeah, absolutely.
So anyway, he told me to read it, and I read the first book, and I did genuinely really like it. I do think though what contributed to it was just that I technically I loved the fantasy series I had read, and I technically knew there were more in existence. Mm-hmm. But there was something really exciting about like, oh my God, there's like a bunch of other fantasy series that are like this in depth. I don't know. My brain hadn't like accepted that existed yet.
Were you doing like a hierarchy thing where like in your brain you were like, well, Lord of the Rings is the best one, so like how much can I care? Or were you just really like, you didn't even know that there could be this many like big series out there for fantasy?
Yeah, I think I just didn't really think about, I hadn't thought that far ahead. So I thought it was exciting. So how much of my excitement was like about that the Sword of Truth was uniquely good versus just the excitement of a new fantasy series? I don't know.
Yeah, we'll have to tease that apart.
But
now,
it seems like I had no sense of how popular this was until we did some research for this, which is apparently it's very popular.
Extremely.
But at the same time, I don't feel like I ever hear anyone talk about it ever.
No, for sure. If I ask people at work, everyone knows Lord of the Rings. Now everyone knows Harry Potter.
Yeah, and Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones.
I even feel like The Wheel of Time is more well known than this.
I agree. It is. And I think it's more well regarded.
Well, yes. This seems to be kind of controversial.
Well, and
in the scheme of big fantasy series, but it seems like this one is not as well known, not as spoken about as the others. But at the same time, when I'm like looking up information about the series, it's like one of the best-selling series of all time. It's been on the New York Times bestseller list seemingly
every book except for the first two.
Yeah, so I'm like, clearly a lot of people are reading it. Why don't I ever meet them? Ever.
I think a lot of people read fantasy, but there's just a lot of people that don't. And I think it just kind of gets lost. There's so much fantasy at this point.
Yeah, I know, but
that
still.
It's like not everyone can commit to like knowing too many more. Like when Game of Thrones swoops into a person's brain and they're not a fantasy person.
Yeah.
It sits in that hole.
No, I understand, but there are okay, but the fact that it's that popular means there's enough people that are reading fantasy series.
Yeah.
I just think it's I don't know. I just think it's weird. I think it's weird that it's I really want to compare. Hold on. I'm going to find out. I want to compare how many people have how many like Sword of Truth have sold versus Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I think it's not going to be close, but
Sword of Truth sales versus Game of Thrones. Well, I guess at this point it's not fair just because of the I wish I could know that pre-show.
To be fair, Sword of Truth also has a show.
Yeah, right. Which, did you know?
Probably
Did you know that Sam Raimi, the Evil Dead guy, directed the show?
You know, I definitely knew that at some point until you said it now.
I didn't know that.
He does a lot of weird stuff. He'll just like pop up and it'll be like, oh, he directed that Transformers movie or something.
I don't really know what to make of that.
That's probably not true.
I don't know what to make of that. I was very surprised when I read that. Huh. And when it came out, we did watch, I feel like we watched like 3 episodes and we were like not about it.
I don't remember hating it.
I remember I didn't like it.
Yeah.
It had a very like CW
correct
vibe.
But I also watched a lot of CW.
Okay, that's fine. So but it had a really CW vibe. I don't like a CW vibe. And additionally, I don't think this lends itself well to a CW vibe to begin with.
No, you're not wrong. That was a terrible tone to take.
Yeah, it's really weird. Because Sword of Truth is very, like, dark fantasy a la Game of Thrones, I would say. They're very different. But I'm saying, like, they have that, like, I don't know, they have a darker tone.
For sure. And a very sexual tone. Very sexual.
Very sexual.
Which, yeah.
Sexual. Is it sexual? It is, but is it? It's like a really weird...
Yeah.
At least Game of Thrones really leans into just being like, it's... Yeah, sex. People are having sex. I remember... Well, I guess they are, yeah, but they're doing it in a weird way.
Very weird way, yeah. Which is part of what's kind of great about it. Like, Terry was not afraid to broach some topics. We'll get there.
I don't know. I really, I want to like say, I can't comment because I really don't remember. I don't remember enough how the tone was. Well, anyway, what I've looked up is that Sword of Truth has sold over 25 million copies worldwide.
Wow, that's a lot.
And A Song of Ice and Fire is 90 million. That's not that big of a gap when I consider the show.
What?
That's not... A lot of people are reading... Sword of Truth.
No, you're absolutely spot on then. Like, more people should be talking about Sword of Truth.
If I say maybe
it's 25% about as popular in sales?
Yeah, that seems way higher than I would have expected.
Wow.
That's strange.
That's remarkable. How come nobody knows about this?
I don't know.
I bring up Terry Goodkind way more often than I should, I feel like. And everyone's like, nah, never heard of that.
Where are you guys?
I hope you're out there.
Where the hell are you?
Yeah.
25 million.
That is global, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe they're in other countries.
Maybe that's it. Maybe we gotta like head abroad to find our people.
I don't know.
Are they our people? We'll get there too.
I don't know. So anyway, Sword of Truth. I don't have a good way of summing up. It's a fantasy series about. Yeah, how would you sum it up?
If I had to sum it up, I mean, like Wikipedia is gonna say it's about like the Ayn Rand philosophy of objectivism, but what happens in it? It's a story about a man and a woman meeting and trying to save the world. I think like that's how I'd sum it up. And they each got weird special powers.
A magical woman.
Woman?
Wait, in my notes that I took, I said, "Does Richard have powers?" ?
Yeah.
He does?
Well, yeah, he's got a lot of powers.
He does?
But they are very
I don't remember.
Deus Ex extreme. Like, his
He has
powers
magic?
awaken... Yeah, for sure. We'll get into that. Come on. He was a war wizard or something, genetically. I don't know.
Also, this is spoilers, like, all the way.
If you want to read the books and not be spoiled, stop listening to this.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's not going to work.
We're not holding anything back because we barely remember how it's all tied together.
That's true.
There's no way.
Sorry, I can't help you there.
I'm not. No.
Yeah, so it's a man and a woman.
Mm-hmm.
We're not, if you haven't read the series and you were hoping to get some insight, we're not selling you right now.
Nope.
I guess she's magical for sure.
She is.
Is he magical? Guess so.
Yeah.
And they're walking around a lot and they're sleeping under trees a lot.
Oh, yeah. Big Wanderer vibes. The Wanderlust itch is scratched.
And a lot of shit happens. So I guess we might as well just go into our notes.
Oh, yeah. Let's crack into that then.
So
So go down the list and we'll talk about each one. Like that's...
All right,
That's
I think we should do my list, and you tell me if what I say is on your list.
Okay. And then we'll
discuss
when we go to my list.
And then
I'll skip that, obviously.
Yes, and then your list will be whatever's remaining.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Sounds good.
So the number 1 spot was dedicated to Gratch.
Okay, wait. Pause, because if you look at my number 1 spot on the list, also Gratch.
What? Why does that stick out in our minds so much?
I don't know. All right, we'll explain what you remember about.
Okay, Gratch.
Gratch.
I guess Gratch sounds better. Gratch is, I don't know, in the magical world that they go into when they jump over the portal.
Sure, keep going.
They go into the magic world, and there are these horrible creatures, like these that always have disgusting flies all over them.
Uh-huh.
And they smell really bad, and they're ugly.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're like big beasts, bears or something.
Yep.
They fly.
I think they do.
I think they have wings.
Yeah.
And they're like always attacking them,
mm-hmm.
and they hate them. And then he finds one that's like an abandoned baby.
Yep.
And he adopts it and takes care of it because he feels bad because he kills its mom, right?
He does kill its mom is attacking him, is sent to kill him or something. Were they animals or were they mercenaries? That's what...
I thought they were animals. Are they mercenaries? Do they have it? Wait, they seemingly...
Well, they're not contractually hired mercenaries.
Seemingly they have intelligence because most notably Gratch talks a little bit.
Yeah, he's semi-intelligent. That's all...
I love...
No, Gratch does not say I.
What is he?
Gratch says Gratch.
Gratch la Rich Arg.
Yes. So, Richard Cypher...
I didn't know that was his last name.
I just looked it up because I refer to him by his real name, which is a big spoiler for the first book.
Oh, right. Yes, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
Whatever. So Gratch Lug Richarg is something that we say to each other
We've been
on a
saying
monthly
it.
basis for
We've
15 years.
Yeah,
I
for
think?
15 years we've been saying Gratch, La, Richard.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know. It was cute. It was, well,
Yeah,
he seemed cute.
He managed to marry the grotesque and the adorable in this weird little bugbear monster. Didn't the flies suck your blood?
Yeah,
So
something like that.
Yeah, they like could infect you.
I don't
and
know.
Then they were gross.
I can just picture, because I was like, oh, it is really cute that he has this baby. But I was like, man, could I love it if it was crawling with bugs?
Could you?
And it smelt bad? I don't know. It made me feel guilty that I thought maybe I couldn't.
But what if it said it lugged you?
I guess I have to take care of it.
You would definitely take care of it. That's not a question.
Well, anyway, how he ties into the plot, how long he sticks around, when he shows up. Is he in the first book? I don't know. I don't remember.
Yeah, definitely. He's definitely in the first book. I think he's like the first obstacle once they get over the barrier after the group of people who I'm sure is on your list.
What?
The natives? The mud people? Did you put the mud people on
I
your
did,
list?
but why?
I think they're the first
No, they're
stop.
not. I feel like they're way far into the series.
No, they're definitely in the first book. For sure. We spend like chapters there.
No, that's later.
They go back.
I only remember that.
And
What are
they
you
do
saying?
some
That's
shadow
the
magic.
first those are the first people when they go through the magical barrier.
I think it is because they
No.
live out in the like deserty plains area that people don't go because it's near the barrier.
Whoa, we'll see.
Yeah, well, we will see.
Okay, second on my list is Zedekiz Zulzurander, and I don't know if that's
Crossing
actually...
that one off my list.
Is that
too.
his name?
That is the old man.
Yeah, I know. He's like Gandalf, but is that his name?
Yeah.
There's nothing...
Zedekiz Zulzurander. Triple Z Wizard Grandpa.
And then I wrote, does he die?
I think definitely at some point.
Not quick?
But later on.
Really?
Yeah, because I think you're mixing that up with maybe Aragon, where the old wizard guy dies.
No, because I remember how he died and they put him in that like crystal tomb or something.
Yeah, that's true.
So no, I'm not thinking of that.
Look at you with the plot points.
I know. I don't know. Yeah, I just remember he was an old wizard that helps Richard kind of. Maybe, was he like kind of a dick? I don't know.
No, he was so
wasn't?
nice.
All right, never mind.
I don't.
Was he like sassy?
He might have been sassy, but he wasn't like. He was like super helpful, I think.
The next one just says Richard has a best friend.
Fuck, he does.
He does, right?
Yeah,
I
did not have that. Yeah.
That there's some guy.
There is some guy
in regular people world, not in magic world. He has like a regular Muggle best friend, right?
Yeah.
Who does he die?
He betrays him. I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah,
he's actually like a spy or something.
Okay, yeah.
Which
Okay. I put.
I think
the next one is a thorn hurts him.
The best friend or Richard?
No, Richard.
Yeah.
A thorn.
A thorn? You're right, it is a thorn, but...
Wasn't it like on a vine?
Yep.
And it hurts...
Called...
I don't know.
The snake vine. Or something like that.
I don't know. Well, I just know that happens in the first... That's like early on in the first book.
Correct, yeah.
But the imagery... Locked in.
Locked in. Fairy tale-esque.
Okay. Big plot points. I was just... Like, the next one was just that there's like a magical world... That I'm like, is it magic's disappearing, or it's that there's a magical world that we're not supposed to be able to have access to, and now we can enter it? It's something like that, right?
Well, the world, I think, was split up into 3 realms, with the veils in between them. And the reason you couldn't cross the veil is because like you were literally entering the underworld, and your soul was going to get eaten if you tried.
Why would that be the case? It's not. Is it literally the underworld?
Yeah. Like
what do you mean?
They erected part of the underworld to prevent people from
I see. But I'm saying, but the magical world is not the underworld.
No, I assume there's magic in the underworld, but different. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
There's no magic
where Richard is. Yes, correct.
And then there's magic on the other side.
Yeah, and that's where Kaylin is. Which the pronunciation, is that it?
I don't know. I've called her Kalan, Kaylin,
I'm going to say I'm sticking with Kaylin.
We'll do Kaylin.
But yeah, Kaylin's on the magical side. He's on the not magical side. And he's, in the beginning, unaware that magic exists, right?
Correct.
Okay. My next one was Mud People, but we're at odds here because I thought the Mud People were in like book 4.
They are, but I'm pretty sure they're also in book 1. We'll find out.
We'll see. I have Boring Statue Plot, which is where I dipped out. There's an entire book dedicated to Richard, single-mindedly obsessed with the idea of building beautiful statues of like the archetypal man and woman to inspire the masses.
That's it's pretty much what I have, almost word for word. Yeah.
Is it? What'd you write? Say it.
I said there was an Ayn Rand plotline where he inspired a nation to rise up because of art that was so art.
I just remember that plot being extremely drawn out and boring and self-indulgent. But that was my 17, 18-year-old opinion. I suspect that will be...
And to be fair...
Actually, maybe I'll like it this time.
You might, but it's also 6 or 7 books in, too. So you committed pretty hard before that. Mm-hmm. Do you feel like your feelings were waning before you got there? And like that one was just the final nail in the coffin? Or did that one piss you off too much? Like
I honestly don't remember. Okay. I have no idea.
All right.
Okay. The next one... Mm-hmm. I don't know if it's Sliff or Sylph. Which one is it?
Oh, Sylph. Yeah.
Sylph.
I didn't even write that.
You didn't write that? Good. Oh my God. How could you not?
Oh man, that's the fast travel mechanism.
Yes. Yeah. And I really remember that. I guess I'll describe.
Describe what you got. Yeah.
This is what I remember. Okay. The Sylph was. She was, well, it was a she, right?
It was definitely a she.
There was a
female thing.
A snake, a snake creature made out of like mercury with a woman's face.
Feels right, yeah.
Who would come up out of a well.
Yup.
And she would be like, "Oh, would you like to travel inside of me?" And then Richard would be like, I guess he'd say yes because that's convenient. And then he'd like slither into her mercury body and she'd like shoot you out a well somewhere else. Is that accurate?
That feels like 80% right. Yeah,
that's what I remember.
Yeah, she had like a Siri-like personality. Like she was just she felt like an AI, but I think she probably was a person at some point. I think they explain it, but I don't know.
Yeah, was she like more like tech vibes or more like magic? I don't know.
It was like magic tech.
The
mercury
the
aspect
idea of this like
spot on.
Her being this like snaky silver woman that you could travel inside has never left my brain.
Yeah. Did you drink her?
No.
I think you put your head into her mercury and then it just kind of like turned you into
I think
her.
I've just been making things up over the last couple of years. I thought you like hopped in and like slid via her mercury body.
Yeah, but I kind of feel like there was like a whole like trippy sort of like you dissolved sort of thing to her.
That like, probably makes more sense.
I think she was like the Capri Sun commercial where you turn into the...
then you become Capri Sun.
You become Capri Sun in her. And then when you pop out, you're not Capri Sun anymore.
I wish I remember what her personality was like. You're saying she was like...
She was like kind, but like kind of like a...
Was she?
Yeah, I remember her being just like a pleasant little like... Maybe sad a little bit.
I'm projecting sexiness onto her.
Damn.
I think
there's a lot of sexiness going on, but I don't feel like she was one of them.
I made that part up.
Well,
we'll see. The next one. I guess I have to just say it.
Okay. Let's see.
I guess I just have to say it.
I'm excited.
Period blood blowjob.
Oh yeah, definitely happened. Definitely
that
on my list.
Hasn't left my mind.
Nope.
I guess like I feel like there's a lot of plot here that I'm forgetting.
Quick sum it up.
Okay.
1 sentence description as to how we got there.
Kaylin is in some sort of alternate world or something. Sure. She's like in some like pocket dimension in a house in a weird cottage.
Sure, something like that.
And
I think
I almost feel like she's like waiting for Richard to show up so they could do like sex magic in this alternate dimension. Is that true?
Yes.
And then she's waiting for him, and it's very dark. Mm-hmm. And then Richard shows up, and she's on her period. Is that relevant, or was it just like, is that relevant for the plot?
I feel like it's relevant for the blood magic. No, so it's relevant for the plot, I think, because there was a prophecy about this.
Did it have to do with like childbearing or anything, or we just needed blood, or like why was that part of it? Or was it just like, that just happened to be the case? Because Terry liked it.
I think it happened to be the case. And it was like a way to like... Because the prophecy was like, she'll betray you in her own blood.
Yeah,
or
maybe
something
that
like
was
that.
it.
And the whole book, you're like, what the hell could that mean? And then it's like, I guess it was her period blood.
Well, anyway, somebody comes and has sex with her, and then she starts giving him a blowjob with her... period blood on his penis, and then she's like, not only is that happening, but we're also like, oh no, it's not Richard, it's his brother,
his twin brother.
Are they twins?
It had to be enough looking like him that she wasn't sure.
Well, I thought it was just very dark and they vaguely looked alike.
I feel like it was a twin, but I might be wrong.
I don't know.
But this was the requisite sacrifice to open up the Temple of the Winds. This was how Richard was able to gain access to the Temple of the Winds. And then
so it worked, even though it wasn't...
He saved the world.
It wasn't Richard, and it worked?
Yeah, and I feel like that was a way around. So we haven't really talked about what a confessor's power is.
If I could tell you, I would. No, I think I kind of vaguely remember.
Go ahead.
They just touch you, and then you have to tell the truth. Is that it? Or do they kill you? I don't know.
No, they fuck you.
No, shut up. No.
And when they fuck you, you lose your personality and become an unwilling thrall that serves their every will.
Why would I not remember that?
I don't know.
That seems really important and cool.
Yeah. Maybe there was like levels to this. Maybe if you
Are you
touched
serious?
them, yeah, because it was used as like an anti-rape device. You like couldn't rape a confessor because then she would like literally kill you. And then they weren't allowed to fuck for a while, Richard and Kayla.
So then how did the brother do it? Because they were in that alternate dimension.
He might have died from that. I don't remember. I think that was a way around
Richard
having to die.
I feel like that's literally why they were there. They were there because it was like going to be a workaround. Yeah.
Yeah. But it was like a power that builded inside her. So once she like obliterated someone, then she could be safely raped.
So how much sex was she having?
Not much, except...
But why not? Like
Terry loved just group rape scenarios, so that happened.
Why wasn't she having sex with people to utilize this power on them? Maybe it was like against her code.
I mean, it literally killed them. So I think like she just didn't want to do that too often, you know?
All right.
It wasn't like a mind control. It was like they're dead. Their soul is gone. And Kaylin is now owning them or something. You know?
I guess so.
Yeah.
I don't remember that at all.
Well.
Yeah, and then right after that I wrote, were they horny? ? Because like right off of the period blood blowjob, I don't remember, like I know there's lots of sex related, BDSM related things happening, but I don't remember these characters having all this. I don't remember them having like sexual energy at all.
I don't remember either. And it could be because I was young and I wasn't like picking up on it, but I feel like yes. I feel like there was a lot of longing. Like a romantic sort of longing, but I don't remember there being like everyone's horny.
Well, it's just a weird juxtaposition for it to have such intense, like I would say like in Game of Thrones, I'm like, yeah, everybody's horny.
Oh yeah.
So that makes sense that we're like doing a bunch of weird sex stuff because everyone wants to have sex. They're going to like see sex workers. They're going to, I don't know. They just like want to fuck. I don't feel like I don't remember anybody. I don't remember there being a sense that they want to fuck.
I don't even think for how much sex occurs. I don't think there's even a brothel or anything like that.
That's what I'm saying. It's like weirdly asexual and hypersexual at the same time, which I don't really get.
I'm fascinated dive back in and see. But yeah, no, I agree with you. I definitely do.
Okay, and then I put Mord Sith.
Yeah.
Because I remember
You
them.
can't not talk about Mord Sith.
They're just like the dominatrix race of women.
That's basically it.
And they lived...
How did they dress? Do you remember?
Well, I feel like I'm remembering the show, but they wore like red leather bodysuits, right?
Red leather bodysuits.
And then they had necklaces that caused a lot of pain.
Yeah, what was it called? Aegis Fang or something?
I don't know.
Or maybe just Aegis.
And then at some point they lock Richard in a chest. I think.
So he's definitely locked in a chest. I think in the first book.
Yeah, but I think by whatever the main one, the main Mord Sith that comes and is like, I want him. I feel like she does that to him.
So I feel like he was captured by like some princess at first. And then he was definitely captured by Mord Sith later on in the book.
Why would a princess take him?
Don't they like change his name and like break his spirit?
That's the Mord Sith.
That's the Mord Sith, yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
It's not a princess.
No. And the Mord Sith work for Richard's dad.
Darken Rawl?
Darken Rawl.
Yeah.
Maybe the best name.
They do? They work for him? I don't think I knew that.
Yeah. They're in... Oh, I don't remember where Darken Rawl lives. Some, like, Egyptian, like, transplant analog city.
What?
I feel like it was very, like, sandstone structures and...
Really?
Yeah, but he had, like, some, like, oasis-y garden.
Yeah, I remember that.
You remember that? Okay.
I don't remember that it was Egyptian. Yeah, the Mord Sith are, like, this dominatrix cohort, and...
Cohort?
I don't know. I don't really remember much more than that.
The red leather was to hide the blood.
That is so stupid.
Yep.
That's so dumb.
Yep. And
okay,
then,
camp.
Yeah, literally that. And didn't they, to train them, they made them, like, kill puppies?
No, you always say,
something?
well, you say this. If they did, that is what happens to the
Unsullied.
Unsullied in Game of Thrones. I don't know. Maybe that happens here too.
It's either their... No. Unsullied is puppies. I think they make them kill their parents.
I feel like that's a plot device in, like, everything.
Yeah,
so
right.
I don't...
Fair enough.
Maybe they do. I don't remember.
But where did they get it? From Terry Goodkind.
I don't know if that's
He's the
true.
first.
I don't know if that's true. I don't know.
What
Okay,
else you
then
got?
next I have... I think I'm not... Jadang. Which one
I don't
is
think
it?
it's Jadang.
Is it any of them?
It's Dejang, right? D''J', right?
Who is a big fat man
Okay.
who lives in a palace. I just remember picturing him in like this big Grecian palace where there's a lot of prostitutes and like orgies or something.
Yeah.
And then he goes into people's dreams.
Yes.
And he does bad things.
Known as the Emperor?
Oh my
I
god.
believe.
Where does he live though on this plane of existence?
He does, yeah.
So he's not like, this isn't like Sandman.
No. No, he's not.
He's just a bad guy.
And I think it was like... So the way the power structure is built in this world is like a lot of the wizards and whatever else like were super strong thousands of years ago, and then we forgot how they got so strong.
Oh, that's interesting.
So then Zhang, or what, Dejang, he calls himself the Emperor, and he's a dream walker, and that gives him the ability to enter anyone's dream and then control their mind, I believe.
Okay.
I think that's how that went.
I feel like he was popping up in Richard's dreams, and then at some point it was like leading up to Richard showing up at that palace, right?
Yeah. So he's the big bad, though.
Like all around? Not
For
just
the
for
series.
one book?
No.
Oh.
He ends up being... Yeah, because it's a couple of little big bads, and then he's the one that carries you through, like, all the way to Chainfire and those.
Well, I guess I never resolved that
No, you didn't.
plot point. And then this is the last thing, which I really don't know if I made this up. Does he try to steal a dragon's egg at some point?
Who?
Richard.
Steal a dragon's egg?
Are there dragons? Does he try to steal an egg?
Maybe. I don't remember there being dragons. But there might have been.
Why do I feel like he rides the Sliff to go somewhere to steal an egg?
He might. I'm not remembering that.
If I fabricated that, I really couldn't tell you why I did.
You're probably right.
I'm looking out for it as we read. I'll look out for the egg. Okay, that's it. That's my whole list. That's all I remember.
I mean, you got a lot. So I had Gratch. I had Confessor Sex Magic.
I didn't know that one.
So Richard is the seeker looking for truth.
Yeah, what does that even mean?
And he has the sword of truth.
What does that mean?
So the only person that can wield the sword of truth. Sword of truth is like OP. It's like super powered, but you got to be like really honest.
How early does he get that?
I think he has it for a while, but he can't wield it.
Where'd he get it?
I don't remember. Zed probably gave it to him. Zedicus Zul'Zorander. Rawl is his dad, and then I wrote Vader.
Yeah.
Dark Vader. I have there are badass witches who use magic, and there's a whole plot line where there's like towers of magic sand that they're trying to get, and they're like white and black towers filled with white and black sand, and it was very like intense. It was like the end of one of the books.
Don't remember that.
But then so Terry loved to have a mini big bad be the entire focus of one book, and then to fold them into the next book as like Richard's friends.
Did he? Like,
oh, yeah.
I do remember the Mord Sith transitioning.
So Mord Sith were really bad, and then he was chilling with Mord Sith.
Yeah, then he was like, oh, maybe the Mord Sith could be
because he killed his dad, and then he became their lord.
So then he tops the Doms?
Yeah, exactly. Okay. But then he's like very reluctant to do it, and they're like, we need guidance. Yeah. And I remember one travels with him, and it's a big plot point to get her out of her red leathers and into a sundress.
What are you talking about?
You'll see. It's
what does that mean?
Probably book 3. I'm saying it here and now, and we're going to cut this in when we get to it. But she puts on a sundress at some point, and she's like twirling in it and like acting like a little girl because she hasn't been out of her red leathers in like 20 years. Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, keep going.
Zedicus Zul'Zorander. Old man is actually a wizard. Veils of the Underworld. Snakevine. Someone gets bit by the snakevine and it like nearly kills him, and that's part of why they travel.
Yeah, is that not Richard? Or his friend?
Maybe it is. But then why does he live? I thought it was like guaranteed it's going to kill you. The coming of the snakevine was part of the prophecy too. The fact that it was able to grow there was indicative of there being some sort of
that kind of makes
magic
sense.
spilling across or something.
I buy that.
Yeah. I just wrote there are castles.
Are there?
Yeah. There's like a city that they end up residing in.
Yeah, like I don't
like
know
home
why
base.
the geography of it is absolutely lost on me, other than them, like I said, them being outside sleeping under trees. That's the only like visual.
Yeah, it's not like Game of Thrones has this like world where it's like the north, and like when we travel north, moat.
I don't remember anything.
It's like a dream world.
It
feels like you just travel across and there's fields and trees.
I've got lots of forest and like open grasslands, and then mud people who kind of like live in a swamp or something.
Yep.
And that's it. I don't remember. And then I know that they show up to these like locations like where Jadang or whatever lives, where I remember like the interiors, but they're all just so bizarre, and they don't, they feel like they exist in some like not real plane. Yeah. It doesn't have the feeling of like a grounded world at all.
I agree. And so this is meta, but I believe that as we go on, so past the books that I finished, there's books that are like indicating that the world of the stories is our world. That we've been living there the whole time. He's trying to
Planet of the Apes us.
He literally is, yeah. I think the way he ends up getting rid of Zhejiang is he traps him in the old world with all the other people who don't value integrity or something like that. Sorry. And this is all to say, it makes it sound not very good, but I really think I'm going to love it. So
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to be really, really mixed.
Yeah. Yeah. That feels right.
I think I'll have fun.
You'll definitely have fun. Emperor controls people's minds through dream magic, not sex magic.
Yeah.
Richard is OP.
Is that true?
Yeah, because he's like a war wizard or something. And I forget, there's mechanics to all this.
There are.
But I don't remember how they work. Couldn't the sword kill anyone it touched or something like that?
I have no idea.
Or any liars?
I don't know. Is that true?
Yeah, I don't know.
Any liars? These people are obsessed with telling the truth, him and Kaylin.
Mm-hmm. Can't help it. That was the thing, too. When she wiped their brain, they couldn't lie to her anymore.
Yeah, I knew she had some sort of...
the problem was then they were dead. So it's like you only had to use
You're telling me the only way that this happened was she had to have sex with them? I don't believe that. She was able to do this some other way. I remember her doing it to people way more casually than like seducing them every time.
Maybe it was that you could not have sex with her without triggering it.
Yes, that sounds correct.
She could do it with her hand.
But she could definitely do it without sex.
All right. Yeah, maybe that was it.
It's I don't remember that.
It was like automatically you can't really mess with them because they could just wipe you out.
Yeah, but I was like, is this like who's the one in X-Files you can't touch? Rogue? Is that true?
You said X-Files.
Yeah.
So I was like, yes, you can't touch Rogue.
Okay, X-Files on the brain. Yeah, X-Men.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, is she like Rogue level where like Richard can't touch her?
No, he can, but I think it's like anything too stimulating might trigger this against her will.
I see.
It's will dependent until she becomes, I think, enraptured.
Okay.
Yeah, or something. Mord Sith's Stick of Pain. There's a lot of BDSM.
Wow, you didn't have much more than me?
Not really.
I remembered a lot.
I wrote Stone of Tears. The fuck is that? That's the second book, but I don't remember what it was. Wizards are strong, but also not. There was like a big mechanic where they could like cast spells, but then they were super vulnerable, I think. And then Richard was impervious to that once he unlocked that ability. That's all I remember. Okay. And I didn't write it, but the hot witch lady.
Who
the
are you?
Sorceress or
I have
something.
no idea what you're talking about.
She lived in her own pocket dimension, and she was very dangerous. Do you remember that?
No.
All right, well, we'll find
Do you think
out.
this was a later book, or I just forgot?
She's in the first book.
She's in the first
100%,
book?
Yep. Ugh. And, like, not much was done with her, so it was kind of disappointing. But she had big boobs. That's what I remember. She had big sorceress boobs, and she was so dangerous that, yeah.
Ugh, Terry loved his big boobied mommies.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
I guess that's it.
Is that it so far? Yeah.
I mean, the whole point of this was just to introduce the concept here, and we wanted to do a pre-episode before we started reading the first book, because the second we start getting into it, I'm sure we'll like remember a lot of things.
Yeah,
or
like
we wanted to see what the hell we were like. We'll never have another opportunity to say after 15 years. What were the most important elements we remembered?
You're right.
So this is it.
So this is uncracked. These books have not been.
No.
Have not been. The spines are immaculate.
Exactly.
Time.
We will be reading the first chapter, and then we will be back and we will talk about the first chapter. And I guess we'll do chapter by chapter, but if we find that like there's just not that much to say per chapter, then maybe we'll start doubling up or whatever.
Yeah. We'll see how it goes.
That's the plan.
Just check the vibes. And yeah.
Yeah, thanks for hanging out with us.
Thanks for tuning in.
Hopefully this was kind of entertaining for you guys. Getting to hear how little we remember. If you really love the series or you've read it recently, you're probably like sitting at home screaming at how wrong we're getting everything.
And that's just part of it, you know?
Yeah.
That's maybe the most important part.
So we'll be back and we will have some more concrete analysis to give you after we read chapter 1 of Wizard's First Rule.
Sword of Truth.
Thanks, guys. Bye.